So this is the Armenia versus Azerbaijan, the weekly report. Primary questions. What sources of information could be reasonably expected as fact-based? Sources of information that are mostly fact-based are those that are neutral in terms of the issue. This means that the creator of the source does not take any sides in the matter at hand. For example, in the case where Armenia is being attacked by Turkey and Azerbaijan, it is the best to obtain information from sources that are part of neither location. This will increase the chances of non-bias. Specific examples include Canada writers, reputable news programs, non-Armenians, non-Azerbaijans, or non-Turks. Both sources of information might be biased. Sources of information that are often biased include that which are given by people who have taken sides on the matter. For example, it is not wise to obtain information on the issue between Armenia and Turkey, Azerbaijan, from the patriots of any of those countries. Side takers are the biggest sources of biased information. More specifically, things like Armenia, Turkish, and Azerbaijan news reporters, news networks, or anything of the sort. One may also pay attention to the creator of the source, on they could be hiding their identity as side takers as well. What are some examples of bias that are currently in the world headlines? The big example of the bias that is currently in the world headlines in terms of the issue is the question of the original perpetrator with Armenia or Turkey. Turkey teaches their youth that Armenia committed genocide against them, when in fact it has been historically proven that Turkey committed the genocide. This whole controversy is because of land. Turkey wants what little land Armenia has left. Bias concerning the original perpetrator can strongly affect how countries decide to involve themselves. Contents. 1. History shows that the battle between Armenia, Turkey, and Azerbaijan is one that never really came to an end. Learn why the war has continued by United Today. Current event. After explaining the context behind the current issue, it is important to keep up to date in terms of the state of the war and where the countries stand in terms of it. Learn where the world is right now in terms of the issue. The war between Azerbaijan and Armenia has been put to silent rest since 1994. However, today the world has not seen the conflict rise to this severe level since the beginning. Learn why the conflict is so severe. Before getting to the matter, it is important that we examine the context between the issue. The skirmishes are taking place all over the world of land known as Nagorno-Karabakh, also known as Artsakh. This is the mountainous region. This is considered by most of the international community to be sitting on the west of Azerbaijan. The east of Armenia, up until 1918, this area was part of the Russian Empire, as was Armenia and Azerbaijan, which meant that not really one argued over the land. However, when the Russian Empire crumbled in 1918, both Armenia and Azerbaijan claimed that the land belongs to them. This was followed by a brief war in 1920. That did not come to a full conclusion because Soviet Russia reclaimed the area in 1923 to avoid any further conflict. Russia but Artsakh with the Azerbaijan SSR and gave it a degree of political autonomy. From then, it was known as the Nagorno-Karabakh Autonomous Oblast. Context continue. Soon after the Soviet Union came to collapse, Nagorno-Karabakh, which at the time was composed of 80% ethnic Armenians, decided to jump ship and join the Armenian SSR. Much later, when the Soviet Union fully collapsed, Azerbaijan SSR became known as just Azerbaijan. Same with Armenia. After this, Nagorno-Karabakh wanted to become part of Armenia, but this Azeri population was against this. In early 1992, full war broke out. By the time a proper ceasefire was agreed, in 1994, Armenia had claimed Nagorno-Karabakh, coming to about 19,000 kilometers of land. Currently, this land is viewed by the world as part of Azerbaijan, but is actually controlled by the Republic of Artsakh, which is basically just Armenia. Recognition of the Armenian genocide will also come into play later during this report. It is important to note that this event is a fact. The Armenian genocide was systematic murder and deportation of Armenians by Turks of the Ottoman Empire. By 1920s, when the Turkish plan, it had been executed approximately 1.3 million Armenians were massacred, with many more forcibly removed from this country. It is important to note that Turkish government still have not acknowledged the event of a genocide, unlike the rest of the world. To what's happening, why such in Turkey are aggressors. Assessingly, Azerbaijan wants to claim Nagorno-Karabakh, also known as Artsakh, from Armenia. On September 27th, Azerbaijan fired artillery on Artsakh, killing 18 injuries, 100. Azerbaijan said that they were responding to Armenia fire, but Armenia had no clue what they were talking about. As a result, they fired back, killing 5 Azeris. Azerbaijan declared a state of war, and Armenia declared martial law. Since mid-September, the two countries have been selling each other, but recently Russia has called on Armenia and Azerbaijan to respect their ceasefire. This truth was supposed to come into play during the first week of October, but has been ignored by Azerbaijan while being upheld by Armenia. As of right now, Armenia is protesting for peace, while Azerbaijan is continuing to ignore the ceasefire. This war is only getting worse as Azerbaijan is planning to team with Turkey to completely decimate Armenia. Turkey's involvement. Turkey's involvement is in the Armenia-Azerbaijan conflict is becoming an extremely pressing matter as Turkey's ambition is to complete the Armenian genocide. The scary part of this is that Azerbaijan and Turkey combined their armed forces, they would have over 800,000 soldiers, while Armenia has only around 42,000 soldiers. During a recent press release, the president of Turkey stated that Turkey stand with and will continue to stand with friendly and bold Azerbaijan with all other means and all other heart. It only makes sense that Turkey stands with them because of their shared Islamic faith and hatred for Christianity. In response to Turkey's statement, Emmanuel Macron, France president, argued that Turkey is speaking in a war-like language and demanded they back down. Turkey argues that only support weapons and training, but they continue to perform joint militaries against Armenia anyway. The aggression and instability of Turkey. In addition to Turkey's war-like language, they have also been sending Syrian mercenaries to fight for Azerbaijan. Turkey continues to deny the claim despite the fact that The Guardian reported Newark was able to track military flight paths from Gaziantep to Istanbul, and that Azerbaijan, both Russian and France, support the claim. According to the same source, Syrian bodies have been found on the battlefield as well. The scariest part of this is that Turkey has been recruiting Syrians since September 22nd, 5 days before the first rally of artillery, which implies a primitive agenda. As mentioned earlier, the conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan gives Turkey the perfect opportunity to continue their violence. In fact, the Armenian Prime Minister described Turkey's support for Azerbaijan as policy, continuing the Armenian genocide and policy of restraining the Turkish Empire. Okay, the severity. What makes today's conflict so much bigger than that of the 1900s? 3 major reasons. Large military. Due to Azerbaijan oil-driven economy, they have much larger military than Armenia. Turkey is backing Azerbaijan and standing with them throughout everything. The U.S. The United States of America seems relatively uninterested in mediating the conflict this time around. Azerbaijan has a much larger army than Armenia due to the oil-driven economy, as mentioned earlier. So, as you can see, Armenia has 4.7 military expenditure, 42k armed forces, and 13.5 billion current GDP. As Azerbaijan has a much higher one of everything. Azerbaijan does not have a larger army, but a stronger country in terms of the GDP economy and their military expenditure than that of Armenia. Turkey for all reasons involved with This also had to be mentioned, so it would be so brief. Azerbaijan and Turkey follow the same religion and faith. Turkey has been fighting a proxy war for Russia and Libya, Syria since 2012. Turkey sees that Azerbaijan have a lot of oil, so they are a useful ally to have. Turkey stands with and will continue to stand with friendly brothers Azerbaijan with all our means and all our heart. Recep Erdogan, President of Turkey. The United States on involvement. 1994. Successfully negotiated the ceasefire in 1994. This has been the most active cooling region tensions. In 2016, after brief skirmishes with the board of Artsakh, the U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry involved in the issue immediately settled. America is staying out of it this time, partially due to Trump's nationalism and the time-consuming upcoming election. Conclusion: the Armenia-Azerbaijan conflict is one that is just getting started. Despite its birth in the early 1900s, the battle for land that exists between Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Turkey still remains a present issue, which is the collaboration of Turks and Azeris, the non-violence of American, and the small size of Armenia. The outcome of the conflict is uncertain. However, myself, along with most others, hoping that Turkey and Azerbaijan put an end to their violence and join Armenia for peace. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, this is an issue that's definitely contested by different countries. Did a genocide happen? Yes, no. What's the international acknowledgement or history? Unfortunately, it's an example of our world and tribalism and issues that we have with each other for some reason that go back into history well before the people that are involved in the fighting are actually ever lived through any kind of conflict that sparked it. Right? Anyone have anything to say? No? Okay, so today we're going to do a couple things. We're going to take a look at the Parliament. Now, normally when we do this unit, you guys do like a whole mock Parliament and group stuff, but obviously #COVID, we can't do that. So we'll just go through some notes. We'll look at some major players in the Parliament. Now, originally I was going to have you guys do like a quick presentation on a member of Parliament, but I was like, meh. I think so. I posted a different short presentation that you guys are all going to do, and you're going to choose a country, and you're going to basically create a presentation following the questions outlined in the assignment as a guide. You don't have to answer every question, but as a guide. We're talking about politics. Obviously, today we're going to look at the federal Canadian Parliament, but it's very important as the world shrinks and we become more international, connected, that we understand other countries and how they work. Especially since Canada has a large population of immigrants from every single country in the world. So, without further ado, let's take a look at. I guess I should. So, even though it says model parliament, that's what I'm saying. So this would have been the background information for the presentation that we can't do, or not model parliament. It would have been fun, but whatever. Again, #COVID. All right. So why is it important to study the Parliament? Parliamentary Day, we'll take a look at the big names, how a bill becomes a law. You guys have taken a look at that part, so we'll take a look at some things real quick. So anyone ever go to Ottawa? Maybe on a grade 6 or 8 trip? Did you get to go inside the Parliament?
Probably. Yeah.
Probably? You don't remember?
Not really. No. I think I did. I don't remember it though.
Cool. Yeah. It's a nice building. Situated up on the hill. I went to Carleton, so we'd go exploring through there at night sometimes. It was pretty fun. So, it's important that we understand how the parliamentary system works in Canada. Does anybody know why? Do we text in the chat which country we want? Yeah, okay. While we're talking about this, I'm going to make a Google Classroom form again, and then you can input your country.
I'll take Russia.
Okay.
I don't even know what the presentation is. I don't know what's on, but I'll take
The
Russia.
internet sucks.
Yeah.
I'll take the great. Yes. Wait.
Okay, since you guys are so into it, so let's start that first before. So Matthew, you want Russia?
Yeah. I don't know what this is on, but I'll take Russia. It's fun.
Okay.
I don't have to have a different country.
Everyone has to have a different country. There's like 195 countries in the world. We should be fine.
Are you counting South Sudan as a country or no?
It's up to you. Matthew,
So try to Canada.
no. Matthew, Russia. Russia's taken.
Yes.
I want Greece. Panthea.
So I have Japan.
Yeah. All right.
Do Sudan. Iraq. Oh, no.
Okay, hold on here.
Do Scotland.
Italy.
Where's,
List of countries. We can do Greece, Belgium, Brazil,
no, South Sudan is right there.
Chile,
Connor, Taiwan.
Denmark, Ecuador, Egypt, outside.
I'll be Italy.
No, you're not. Your sister's already Italy.
Uh,
There are other countries in the world.
Sir, can I just rant? Sir, Mark wants to-
Okay.
Yeah, hold on. Okay, Mark. France. I have to go Connor. Taiwan. You can choose any country if there's anything that you got. Japan, right?
Madagascar.
United Kingdom, Dina.
Buddy, you must love him. Wow.
Let's stay away from the United States and Canada. El Salvador. Hold. Natalie. Yeah. Oh my goodness. They're Ekaterina, Cuba.
I'm gonna take the quiz, but that's see what I get.
Let me go back to this craziness.
Sir, do I just tell you right now what I want?
Yeah.
Australia.
I think I already wrote Australia.
What?
I already wrote Australia.
US, then you got Australia. Okay. I'm trying to go through everything here. There's like 3 different places people are writing. Okay, so Christina, you want Australia. Got it.
Yeah.
Tina got Venezuela.
Yes,
Uh,
thank you.
Natalie, Hong Kong. I got that one. Ryan H got El Salvador. Natalie got Singapore. Wait, Natalie, you want Singapore? Not okay. Easy. You're just gonna show us Wealthy Rich. What was that place called? What was that movie called? Crazy Rich Asians. As in, I can't do Hong Kong, or can I? We'll do Singapore. Miriam.
Mr. Mulder saying Hong Kong's not a country. Wow.
That's not what I said. She's what? Don't you start rumors about anything with me and a personal opinion of anything. Miriam, Germany. Vincenzo, Mexico. Leighton, France. No, Hong Kong. Okay. Make up your mind there, Natalie.
Sorry, I'll just do Singapore then.
Okay, easy. Okay. Can I switch mine? Hope I didn't even see you added one. Maybe I shouldn't have put a Google Classroom thing. Oh my goodness. I gotta. Hold on. Okay. So that one. Okay.
Obviously, this one is stupid.
Greenland. Okay. Edwin Zhang.
The rich are too bad.
Okay. Now let's go to the stream. Okay, so do I have Italy? What the hell?
So did you people do the same country?
No. Why? Did I write that down already?
Mark and Leighton both in France.
Oh no, Mark and Leighton. Leighton, you can't take France. Mark already took it. Choose another one. Thanks for noticing. David, Burma, Denmark. What's Itan? Oh, Iran. Ryan J. Kexen, or someone already took Japan. Yeah. Okay. All right. So there's a couple of you that haven't chosen one because there was doubles, and Leighton, you got to switch over to something else because. Whoa.
Bro, I hate this question.
I'm going to take Leighton's France off. Okay. Did I not put in? Check the here. Check this thing.
Sir, Switzerland taken?
No.
Sure.
You'd like Switzerland?
No, I just thought the first country that came to my head was Switzerland.
So you want Switzerland?
Sure.
It's a good one.
I love it.
Well, the neutrality. Spain. Okay, you can have Spain. Leighton. Did anybody not get one yet? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Sweden? Jacob wants Sweden. Okay, anyone else? Morocco, Verbania.
Sir,
Yes.
is it okay if I change mine to New Zealand?
Sure. Who's talking right now?
Dada.
Sarah to New Zealand.
Yeah.
Why? Because your brother wants.
I'm gonna check to Italy, sir.
There you go.
Actually, not for that, but
And Vincenzo wants Italy.
the Prime Minister really interests me. She.
Okay, cool. Yeah, she's cool. All right, so that means who else doesn't have one? Can I switch to South Africa? Hope wants South Africa. I don't even know if I put you down yet. Okay, so how many is that now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I think we're still missing a couple. Who are we missing? Kylie Korea.
So weird.
Okay, so if there's anyone else, just let me know. Now, if you notice, I put the, we're gonna do a couple. Which one? Oh yeah, good question. Well, yeah, yeah, you're gonna do the, interesting. Good question. We're gonna do more than one presentation a day. So let's look at the calendar and go from there. So it's still, we have about a month till the end of the class. So when do you want to start this and choose them? So why don't we take a look at, who wants, what? Did anyone not get one yet? No? Okay. Maybe it was Edward Montoya who doesn't have one. Okay, so who wants to start? We only have 1, 2, 3. How many weeks? What's going on here? 1, 2, 3 and a bit weeks. 3 weeks to do this. So I'll give you lots of time in class to do it. Oh, Montoya's here. Edward, did you choose?
I don't like when we do this class.
Oh, thanks.
No, I like it better online. Because I can't do math online. It's too hard to follow.
Yeah. Okay, Edward, do you have a country you'd like to choose presentation on? It says Greenland. All right then. Okay, so who wants to go first? And we'll start in, like I said, I'll give you a lot of time in class. So today's Thursday. Why don't we start on Wednesday? Okay. So Sabrina. What country are you doing? Okay. Okay, let's do a couple on the 21st. Who else would like to go? I'll go Thursday, the 22nd. Okay. And Panthea, what are you doing again? Greece. Okay, come on, everybody. I'll go the 22nd.
Last possible days.
Natalie, what are you?
Singapore.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so whoa. Friday for Dina. That's tomorrow, Friday? Or next week? Dina is UK. Mariam Hafizi, Germany. You guys are okay. Tina, 23rd. Leighton, 25th. 25th is a Sunday, Leighton. Ryan Hushar. Hey, Kylie, 28th. Ekaterina, 26th. What's Cuba? David Burma, 27th. Leighton. On the 26th.
So what day should I go?
You choose one.
I'm feeling
Rosaria,
the 30th, to be honest
23rd.
with you. No, I'm not actually. No. Let's go to San Diego. What's like a good rush day?
C, 28th.
On Monday?
C, Connor.
No, not on Monday. But then let's see. It's on the 3rd. November 3rd? Question mark.
Taiwan. Uh-huh, sure.
Alright, sir, me too.
Okay, hold on. Let me get through these.
Double up on November 3rd.
This is so
Sanitization hour.
November 2nd, Vanya.
What?
Morocco. November 5th, Ryan Jalali. No, thanks. Iran.
What do you do this podcast?
27th for Hope.
They're probably expensive. We're talking to. So is it? I remember that video. I was gonna go show this is the girl, and that's happening.
Edwin, 30th. Edward Maldives. And when do you want to go, Edward? Next week. Choose a day. How about the 22nd, Edward? Edward is the 22nd. Is that everybody? If not, check the calendar for your name. Okay. Wow, that was nuts. Okay. Let's get back to, did I get everyone?
Sir, I'm not,
You're not. When are you?
give me a-
And Matthew, I don't think I got you either. Or you guys.
November 4th, 3rd, 4th, what was it?
Fourth? Third. Let's do third. Matthew, what's your country?
Russia.
And Mark?
I'll go the week after.
Really, are you doing
that,
the day before?
Last possible.
Wait,
The last day is the 11th.
for Rummelman.
Wait, the last is the.
Wait, actually.
Or
can you
10th.
go-
Yeah,
Sure,
last
last.
one. I don't care.
Rummelman.
Okay, you can go on the 9th. What country are you doing?
I think.
Vincenzo, November 6th. What? No, because that's the last day. I don't even know how that goes. All right, is that everybody? possibly. Okay, good. So let's do this PowerPoint here, and then we'll take a look at that. I'll give you time to work on that, to start on it, and we'll move. So Parliament. So yeah, we were already on this page. Why do we need to know about our own government? I mean, it's pretty straightforward. We have to understand how it works. If you ever needed to, any help or change the system, you need to know how. Vincenzo wants to change it. Thanks, Vincenzo. Oh my goodness. All right, Vincenzo, done, changed. You want to change the system, you want to understand the system, you got to be a part of the system, you got to know the system, right? So there's all these things that we're going to take a look at, symbols and people, basically. Now, this is a very important symbol of the Parliament. It's called the House of Commons mace. What is a mace? Right, it's a weapon.
What?
Yes, and it's a very symbolic. This particular one is definitely not one that is used in combat, but it is symbolic of the person who holds it. That person became a little bit of a hero, not just a little bit, arguably quite a hero in recent history. Who's the person that holds that?
Justin Trudeau.
No, but we'll get to that.
The speaker?
No.
The
Do you remember when there was a terrorist attack on Ottawa?
Wow, that guy, did they
What
give
year
him
was
a
that?
name?
Just a couple of years ago.
I remember that. I just don't
Yeah. So there was a radicalized individual who shot and killed a soldier that guarded the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, just randomly, made it into the Parliament, and the person that holds the mace shot and killed him.
What is
And
it?
it's all on video. You
Head
can
of
watch it.
security?
Sort of, yeah, but there's a specific name for that person. No, Dina, it's not speaker.
Is it French?
This particular person is not French. I mean, maybe speaks French, but not from Quebec. Although maybe they are, I don't know. So that's the House Speaker's chair. So it is not, if we look at this big one right here in the middle, the Prime Minister's chair.
Leader of opposition?
No, most people don't have guns in Parliament, that's for sure, but this particular person does. We'll get to it. Has anybody ever been inside here or watched C-SPAN or anything, or the Canadian government? Anyway, it's quite a nice place. Up in the top, we have the peanut gallery. We can watch things. So the speaker sits here. The sovereign, when in Canada, who is who? Queen in this case, sits sergeant. Yeah, close, Dina. What else is the name of that?
Is it the 2014 treatment?
Yeah. Recent history. The Library of Parliament is quite a beautiful parliament. I don't think you're even allowed to touch the books, or go in there, but it's nice. Now, these are the current. Tried to update this as best I can. Apologies if I haven't, but I think more or less every single person we'll talk about is the actual current person involved in that chair. Who's this person here on the left? Governor General. What's her name? We've already talked about her before. Controversial this summer in the news. So you definitely know who that is. What about this person on the right? Who could that be? You might not know their name, but
Supreme Court judge.
nope. You'll get to it. So it's the speaker, yeah. Now, how is the speaker elected? Deputy Governor General, who is the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, convenes Parliament, calls the members of the House of Commons. You remember to understand, when Parliament, there's a lot of pomp and circumstance. What's pomp and circumstance? What is that? rituals and things like that. They inform the members of Parliament or the members of the House that the Governor General does not see fit to open Parliament without a speaker in place. There's always a speaker, and the speaker acts like what? Between everybody. Yeah, sort of a moderator. But they're elected through a secret ballot. And just has to have 50% plus one votes. And like I said a minute ago, there's always a ritual. So the big ritual for the speaker is that the speaker, once elected, pretends it's all a big show, reluctance, and doesn't want to go up into the front. And then both the prime minister and the leader of opposition. So this is only an old picture because this guy on the left is no longer the leader of the opposition. What was his name? Andrew Scheer. But it is the last picture that was taken, or the picture taken when the latest speaker was dragged to the chair. And basically that goes back to when the British Parliament did this, because the speaker is the messenger. And if you've ever heard that old term, don't shoot the messenger, what does that mean?
I thought it just meant
Because don't give you bad news, like don't penalize them.
Right. So, historically we've had messengers, right? People who deliver news, good or bad, from one place to another. And when it's bad news, the person hearing it might be very mad. But it's not the person that's created the bad news, it's just the deliverer of the message. But historically in England, there have been executions because the king was displeased with the news brought to them. And thus, that's why this whole thing happens in Canada, even in the UK, United Kingdom. When the speaker is elected, they're like, no, I don't want to do it, because they might get executed. Obviously, not going to happen in Canada, but, history is history, and there are things that still exist. Now, in COVID times, if they elect a new speaker, what's going to happen? Because there's no touching.
they can tie a rope to them.
Maybe they can tie a rope to them. No, they would figure out a way to continue it's fun for them, Yeah, I know. So the day after the Speaker of the House is elected, the Governor General comes. There's a 21-gun salute. They will inspect the honor guard, which is the guard of the Parliament. And there is a speech made. A speech from the throne. So this is the speech from the throne from Julie Payette. She was an astronaut. She's done a lot of things. Yeah, living the life. Yeah, gone to space and back. So that, in the House of Parliament, in the Commons, there's opening exercises, routine procedures. There's a whole list of things that happen during the process. We're not going to go through it in detail, as you probably already did, especially if you were in my class in grade 10 civics. But parliamentary day, we have an opening of the sitting. The speaker reads a prayer, after which they order the doors to be open for the public to come in, and the public can sit up and talk. What do speakers do when there isn't a meeting? Well, they're not speaking, do they? The speaker is a member of parliament. Routine proceedings, tabling of documents, which means that there are documents brought out, read, reported, etc., and then it becomes a public document. There's introduction of government bills, like, for instance, so-and-so proposes that we legalize this or do that, etc. So it's the beginning of the process of new laws. Member statements allows members of parliament to bring up issues if they need, because the whole point of the Canadian system is the representative system, is that we have members of parliament from all across Canada. Canada is a very large country. We have different areas with different needs, and these areas of, they need things to be brought to Ottawa, and they're members of parliament. This is when the parliament can talk about their issues. So it could be local issues, it could be national issues, or international issues. There's more reports, committees, very fun day. Private members, business, any parliamentary MP that is not part of the cabinet can has a chance to say things. And then, of course, the second readings, the third readings, the government bills, all this stuff happens. Now, this doesn't, and then question period, of course, is when we see people, what they call backbenchers and other individuals allowed to speak. Now, often this is when we see the heated things happen. If you ever seen, people talk and they get pretty angry or mad, etc. And then, of course, the adjournment proceedings. Especially if there's a debate, we can press pause, come back, etc. So let's take a look at some key players. Very important roles in the government. They could be elected officials or employees of the parliament. Obviously, the answer is already here. I was going to do a PowerPoint, but when I convert it to PDF, none of the animations of PowerPoint happen. Anyway, so the committee chair is the head of a group that carefully examines bills and other matters. I guess I could do it like this. I am an MP who has been chosen by the Prime Minister to be part of the cabinet. Therefore, in addition to the regular duties of an MP, I have the added responsibility of heading a government. Who am I? A minister. So they could be a minister of any of the portfolios in, Minister of Education. So who's the Minister of Education when we talk about provincial parliament? He's been on the news all year. Goat person? Oh, Stephen Lecce. Whoop, there you go. Okay. Sporting his COVID beard. He's the elected leader of the Canadian people, etc. So what does he do? He meets with leaders of other countries and he discusses international matters, and of course deals with his own country too. But he represents Canada on the global scale. The clerk of the Senate, this guy Richard Dennis, he's an advisor to the Speaker of the Senate. He's the one responsible for all documents, etc. And it's a very important role because he's responsible for any documents that are brought to the Parliament. Now, he has a team, obviously. So this is the guy we're talking about, Kevin Vickers, the Sergeant at Arms. He is the ceremonial head of security. Now, when I say ceremonial, I mean he is wearing typically a very ceremonial outfit, dressed up to the nines, especially on the day that Parliament opens. He carries that mace into the Parliament. But again, he also carries a gun. And I don't know what a nice or ugly gun is. I think all guns are ugly, but whatever. There you go. Oops, my opinion on one thing. When we had the terrorist attack on the Canadian Parliament from that extremist fundamentalist, he made it into the halls of the Parliament, and Kevin Vickers, Sergeant at Arms, actually shot him dead in the hallways. There's a video of it. I'm not going to show you the video, but it's not too, well, it's pretty graphic, but it's not really.
Like the black suit with like a white color thing.
Mhm. But on the day that the Parliament opens, let's see, I'll show you what he wears. This funny hat. There you go.
How did you find that?
I Googled it. There we go. Look at that. There's the mace. And there's his hat. So basically he wears this stuff, but the mace is not something he holds on to. It's ceremoniously brought in to the Parliament.
Is it made of real gold?
I think so, yeah. And it's old. And it's very heavy.
What is that thing called?
The mace?
Yeah,
Mace. M-A-C-E.
it's just the mace.
Well, it's the parliamentary mace. Canadian. Are you Googling what it's made out of?
Yeah.
I think there's more than just gold. Let us know, Matthew. And crystals and things. It's definitely not a mace like your traditional medieval mace, which is a stick with a ball on it and spikes. Yeah. This fella, the Honorable Georges Fury, he is the Speaker of the Senate. So the Senate is another aspect of the Parliament, obviously, and he enforces the Senate rules, and he represents the Senate in Canada when abroad. Yes,
What's the difference between the clerk of the Senate and the speaker?
because the clerk is the one that deals with documents, and the Speaker is the kind of, in a way, referee or so.
It's made out of silver-coated gold.
Gold-coated silver.
Silver.
Oh,
And it weighs 8 kilograms.
so it's decently heavy, 20 pounds. So the Speaker of the House of Commons, Anthony Rota. Andrew Scheer was actually the Speaker of the House of Commons once upon a time. And basically, they are the presiding person over the House of Commons. They make sure that things are fair and impartial, even though this person is actually from one of the parties. By definition, their job is supposed to be impartial and maintain order. And it's a very important job. So they while in position, forget who they represent because they no longer represent that party, especially while sitting in the House of Commons. Members of Parliament, these are the everyday members. Every riding has one. Do you guys know who yours is? Maybe in grade 10 you did a letter to your member of Parliament or something. Maybe they got back to you.
Mary and G was.
Maybe they got back.
Letter to?
I don't know. Did I teach you in that class?
No.
Did I ever teach you? I taught you.
No,
didn't I?
you taught me, but I sent a letter to my MP in science for some reason
Science?
with Mr. Ugaya.
Why?
About environmental issues?
Probably about climate change or something. Well, yeah, because he told us that he'd give us 100% if we sent the letter.
You get 100%.
Yeah, I sent the letter. I
Wow.
don't know if it was
100% in the course or for that?
No, just on that.
Oh, I
Oh.
thought
Just
you
on
meant
that
like,
assignment.
in general, you get 100%.
Oh, he's almost a good marker as me. All right. Who's who? So this is the latest. He was recently appointed or elected as the leader of the opposition. The opposition party is currently Conservative, and it is a minority government for the Liberals. And he took over for Andrew Scheer, who stepped down but waited until a new leader was chosen. So Aaron O'Toole is the leader of the opposition, which means he's the head of the Federal Conservative Party. If he is still the the leader of the party next election, and the Conservatives win, then he will be our prime minister. But that's not for another 3 years.
Is he,
Pardon me?
is he a good guy?
That's up to you to decide.
I don't know anything about it, so.
Next question in 3 years?
The next federal one.
We had an election last year, remember? And the Trudeau government only won. They didn't win the popular vote, but they won the seat vote.
Does he have to leave next year?
Pardon me?
Does Trudeau have to leave, or we don't have that one?
We don't have that.
No, it's not
No. In Canada, a prime minister can, as long as they win the majority, I mean, the majority, which means 50 plus 1%, not even 51%.
Like if they win.
If they win, let's just say, they can be prime minister for as many sessions as they wish. So we've seen many prime ministers with multiple sessions.
Like they get reelected and then they retire.
As long as they're reelected and people like them, they stay on board. The Americans have a different rule, 2 terms. That's one of the things that Trump is trying to change. I mean, Trump's going to get 3?
That's what he wants.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
I'm gonna die.
78.
We'll see.
He's 78.
Old.
74. Joe
Yeah.
Biden, 78.
Joe Biden's so
Joe
old.
Biden's gonna.
Why did they choose Joe Biden?
I know.
He's so.
They're just biding their time.
They could choose-
I've explained this to you. I said, you know, the big, very, you know, the popular runner-up was Bernie Sanders, but through United States history, there was always been a very big fear of the left.
So did they just choose
Yeah,
him?
DNC didn't like him.
So,
Like, is there still no one else? No one
Yeah,
else.
there's no one else other than Biden and.
well, Hillary last time
What about
around.
Kanye West?
Kanye West is a Republican.
He's gonna win Kentucky.
Kanye
You
West
see
is
that?
third party, isn't he?
Wow.
You see that?
There's conspiracies about Kanye West. I mean, remember when he was wearing a Make America Great hat again and talking about how much he loved Trump?
No, but I mean like officially he's running third party.
Right,
Bipolar.
but he's not running anymore, is he?
He's VP under Rocky.
Yeah.
Wait, but actually, like,
He's VP.
You're not right, man.
between Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders were the only 2 people they could choose from.
No, there was a number of people.
Elizabeth.
What about that woman? who's-
That was way
Joe
back.
Biden's vice president. She
Kamala
was,
Harris. She was a senator. She wasn't running for president.
yeah, but what if she did? Why can't they just make her president?
Well, the 2024, a lot of people are, you know, hoping that there's a, what's her name? AOC.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Yeah,
Who?
push for her.
She's a leftist senator.
But that's the problem again, is that she's considered to be, even though she's left of center, the Americans only have a 2 right of center
I did some-
party system.
Yeah, I did some research on her, and she's like, there is no left party in the United States. The Democratic Party is barely left of center. That's what she's saying.
It's a,
Well, many analysts can consider them, the Democratic Party, to be just right of right, and the Republicans to be even further right. And again, it goes back to the American, you know, ideal of capitalism, and that's what they're built on. Hence why Bernie Sanders was not elected as the leader of that party, and Ocasio-Cortez is unfortunately
For a lot of money.
with Biden or Bernie Sanders, they were like this. And anyway, how are his views different compared to Scheer's? Well, that's quite the large question to answer, Dina. You can all I can say is we don't know much about him, as he hasn't been very vocal about things, but he did when he made his original acceptance speech. It seems through the things that he's said is that he's for progressive, more social aspects, or I'm not going to use the term left because he's conservative, but on the right spectrum of the conservatives, of what he said, people have taken that he's a little bit more left than right. If that makes any sense, but he's still right.
So if he was in America, he'd be a Democrat.
If this guy was in America, he'd be, yeah. Yeah.
why?
Because Americans they're afraid of the left, politically, historically. Well, the communists have been historically the enemy of the United States. I mean, we went through a Cold War between the Soviets and the Americans, and one represents the far left and one represents the right. And even before going back to the First World War, yeah.
I just want to say, completely off topic, but during the summer, throughout all the protests and stuff, I heard a lot of people say like violence gets nowhere, riots gets nowhere, but like the U.S. was founded on riots.
Yeah.
And I just
You mean the
like Boston
the
Tea
War of
Party
the
and stuff like
Independence? Well, the Boston Tea Party. Yeah.
that. The war.
Who says the statements that you said? I mean, you know, the right will say protests
Yeah,
get you nowhere.
I just think it's kind of dumb because like they're really pro-American, but in like the history, the building blocks of America.
Listen, with every country, and America is one of those countries, there are many oxymorons that exist within their ideologies. Okay? What am I supposed to say? Like, you know, whatever serves that person or community is what they go for, and then the justification of the ideology becomes made, right? You know, we have, and the way that these people are portrayed. Let's talk about the protesters. You have the Proud Boys coming, and or a whole group of gun-toting individuals that show up to the government office in, where was it, Alabama or Kentucky, 100% peaceful, everything. And then you have those people represent the right. Then you have, and that's how they're presented in much of the media, or the way Trump talks about them. And then you have the left side, which is protesting peacefully for rights of individuals with no guns, nothing. And they're considered to be violent, protesters, or at least portrayed to be.
Like, this reminds me of when Reagan was the governor of California. Because did you know that the only reason California has such strict gun laws was to disarm the black militias, the Black Panthers? Like, did you know that? That's pretty neat. I mean, it's bad, but I think it's kind of like that, like, obviously we like to think of California as super progressive, but that's not always how it's been.
Yeah, well, America, is a unique place. They say protests are good as long as they're in the past. Right, and then historically we look at things differently, like the Boston Tea Party. It's considered a very positive thing in the history of the United States because it was a part of their independence and movement, right? And then whoever wins writes the history. Anyway, so Aaron O'Toole, we'll see. Been very quiet, at least in the media, since his appointment. Obviously, COVID times, Trudeau is, watched as very closely in what he does and says, and it's a different time. A senator chosen by the prime minister serves until they basically retire or die. Again, when we talk about the electoral reform, there's also reform needed, many people say, in the Senate. The United States Senate situation is, many people argue going backwards for women's rights now, as Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away, and the person chosen instead, basically far right, very ironic person, because she's a woman of power, yet she represents, I'm not even going to go into it. All right. It very much doesn't make sense to me.
Who is this?
Well, the person who's she's currently being vetted to become the next senator to take over Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And yeah, sorry, not the Senate, the judge. I'm confusing two things. I was just comparing it because it's the same thing. You get in and you stay there for life. The clerk of the House. So again, clerks are people who deal with documents, right? So companies usually have clerks. They might call them different things, but they're, extensive duties, management, etc. And that person is Charles Robert or Robert.
How old is this?
Who? Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
Yeah.
She died last week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Wait, then who's the one that you said is getting put in? That's far right.
To replace her?
Yeah.
I can't remember her name right now off the top of my head. Assunta Di Lorenzo is the secretary to the Governor General and Herald Chancellor. Basically, again, manager. Oops, I put the picture in the wrong place. So Julie Payette, Governor General, signs documents, is the liaison between the Queen and the country, basically. Here we go. Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. So Richard Wagner, not to be confused with the famous German composer Richard Wagner. They fill in for the head of state when they're unavailable. They sign bills into law, basically the highest possible judge in Canada. And J. Greg Peters, the usher of the Black Rod. Basically similar to a page, but ceremoniously again, like the Sergeant at Arms for the Senate. M. Louis Plamondon has been in this position for a very long time. He's a member of the parliament who has the longest unbroken service streak in the House. He's not a member of the parliament. He's the dean of the House, and he has this position for a very long time. It's definitely like a life member of the parliament, politician. Okay, so yeah, just a quick overview. How does we're not going to fill it in because it's already filled in. Bill become a law, they're presented, first reading, second reading, gone to committee, then there's a report made, then a third reading, then the Senate has to take a look at it and pass it. The royal assent, meaning the Governor General signs on behalf of the Queen, and it's ceremoniously, etc., and done. Bill becomes a law. Typically, it does not go from first to second to committee to report stage to third reading to pass. It always goes back and around. When cannabis became legal, it went back and forth 3 or 4 times, hence why it took at least 2 years after Justin Trudeau promised that they would legalize it for it to actually become legalized. Royal Supreme Assent, again, in Canada, even though we are an independent country, we're still part of the Commonwealth, and the Queen signs things. Again, pomp and circumstance through the process. Governor General nods, approves. The bill is now an act of Parliament, and then it is law. This is an old picture because that's Stephen Harper. I forgot to update it. Like I said, I tried my best. All right. Fun stuff.
So is the girl that you said is far right?
The girl,
Yeah.
the person.
Amy Coney Barrett.
Yep. She's definitely considered far right.
So what is
Far
she-
right of the spectrum, if I should say.
What does she do?
Well, listen, not my opinion. I'm just presenting facts. Don't shoot the messenger. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was considered the reason why women have maternity leave today, why there are, push for equality between genders, why, a woman can't get fired if she gets pregnant, all of these types of things. But this person is part of an organization or religion, her particular sect, that was the main inspiration for Margaret Atwood to write The Handmaid's Tale. And if you know anything about Handmaid's Tale, the women's rights do not exist. Well, it's a show
Did you see
now.
that protest?
Pardon me?
A bunch of women dressed up as characters from the Handmaid Tale. And
Yeah, I saw that protest. Right? So when I say oxymoron or ironic, is that she herself is in a position, largely due to many women before her, like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, right? For allowing, not just Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is just one of many, rights activists who have accomplished things. So this woman is now going to be most likely the new justice on the Supreme Court, and she represents a religion, a Protestant sect that Margaret Atwood says inspired her to write The Handmaid's Tale. So if you can't see the irony in that, then look harder. And that's why there's so much protest, because Ruth Bader Ginsburg was like the last person on the, on the Justice League, on the council to, keep these rights alive and push for more rights. So, a lot of things happening in the United States, and Ginsburg was, her history really spilled over to Canada too. In the 1970s in Canada, even in the 80s, if you were a woman and you had a job and you got pregnant, you could be fired with no legal repercussions. Can you imagine that? So she's a hero to many, many, many people. And it's a scary, scary world, because the far right, very much, even the far, far left, both sides, we know this is not a spectrum of left and right, it's a horseshoe. Any extremist level, left or right, imposes very strict rules on the people. And, if you're a woman and you want rights, well, we shouldn't just have women who want rights. We should have rights for everybody, and everybody should want these rights. But when you consider that certain genders have a role to play, well, that's not very progressive, is it? So the irony in it is that she is, well-educated, went to university, law degree, judge, all doing this as a woman, thankful to all the women who came before her, and men and people who fought for rights. And, people are scared that she's going to try to take away rights to women and people now. This is politics, people. Okay. 10 o'clock. Did anybody not choose their presentation country / date? No? Okay. You did not. What's that? You did pick a date? Okay, so what would you like to do? 29th, 30th? Wait, did you even choose a country?
Sweden.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So Sweden and the 29th or 30th? All right, Jacob. Sweden. All right. Okay. I'm going to take a 5-10 minute break, and I'll be back. You guys start work on whatever you need to do.